Judge Aileen Cannon is at it again, and looks like she's putting in some overtime for Donald Trump. Another paperless order rushing to help Donald Trump get an extension so Trump does not blow his expert deadline in the Mar-a-Lago criminal document case in the Southern District of Florida court before Judge Aileen Cannon. Let me show you the paperless order that Judge Aileen Cannon rushed to issue. Let me give you the broader implications of it so you can see the kind of schemes that she's running, and you can just see the proof for yourself and judge for yourself. So here's the paperless order issued on June 11, 2024. Paperless order granting defendants' opposed motion for extension of the deadline for Rule 16 expert disclosures. For the reasons stated in the motion, the court finds that good cause exists for the extension request and that no prejudice to the special counsel or to the proceeding will result from granting the relief sought in the motion. On or before July 8, 2024, defendants, and that's referring to Donald Trump and his co-defendants, Waltine Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, defendants shall file their Rule 16 expert disclosures. Moving forward, any requests for extension or enlargement must be filed sufficiently in advance of the deadline at issue, signed by Judge Aileen Cannon. And then just a few moments later, she issues another paperless order granting the motion notice to adjoin and adopt as to defendant Waltine Nauta. Nothing in this order shall be construed as a comment on the merits of the applicable motion, and so that's a joinder of Nauta's motion with Trump's. But let me just explain to you what she just did here. So the original expert disclosure deadline for Donald Trump in the Mar-a-Lago document case was back in November of 2023. But Judge Aileen Cannon has changed the schedule over and over again to the point where she has indefinitely postponed the trial date in the case. But when she did reset the scheduling order, she reset it one time after it was originally scheduled, and then she set it again. And that reset the dates and deadlines for the expert disclosure. So you'll recall our reporting somewhat recently when Judge Cannon took off of calendar the trial date in the Mar-a-Lago document case, which she still had scheduled for May. She moved the dates, and when she moved the dates, she had expert disclosures that were due on June 10th. So the expert disclosures would have been due on the beginning of the week. Donald Trump waits until the date that he has to disclose his expert, and on the very day where he's supposed to make the disclosure, rather than make the disclosure who's going to be his expert in the trial, what Donald Trump does is he asks for an extension of time on the day it's actually due. And his excuse is that over the past weekend, he says, that the expert he was going to use all of a sudden, 24 hours before the disclosure is required, said, I can no longer be the expert. But wait a minute. Weren't you supposed to have this planned originally back in November of 2023? So Donald Trump then, on the date you're supposed to make the file, this is federal court, folks. This isn't supposed to be like, hey, I'll just do what I want to do. It's supposed to be, you have a deadline, you meet it. And so Donald Trump, rather than meet the deadline on that date, says, look, my expert said over the weekend, the expert can't be my expert anymore. So now we need to extend the date and extend it. And Special Counsel Jack Smith, no, what are you talking about? You had November 2023, you were supposed to make this disclosure. You don't just get to, on the day a deadline is due, say that you need an extension of time. But Judge Cannon says, okay, I'm going to give that to you. Compare that to what Judge Cannon did with Special Counsel Jack Smith. get there in one moment, but let me just show you, just so you go, oh, Ben, you're just saying that that's what Donald Trump did. Let me just share with you specifically what Donald Trump's filing was from yesterday. I know we've talked about this before, but I want you to see it for yourself, right? So here it is, June 10th, 2024. It says, Donald Trump respectfully submits this motion on behalf of all defendants. What, you just get to, Donald Trump now represents Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira. On behalf of all defendants, seeking an extension of today's deadline. It was due on June 10th for Rule 16 expert disclosures until July 8th. You go through the motion a little bit more, and here's what it says on the bottom of page 1. Moreover, this past weekend, the day before it's due, this past weekend, a potential expert who was under consideration notified us that she could not work on this case. We are in discussion with other potential experts, but given the need to confirm the witnesses are conflict-free and able to complete the engagement process, we have been unable to finalize our expert engagements by today's deadline. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits, led by the sponsor of this video, Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device. Flavored air isn't like vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume cores are closer to herbal teas. Fume has lots of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. With flavored air, you can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, vapor, or combustion. Fume draws flavor to your mouth. Fume fills the void ditching a bad habit can leave. You still have something to reach for. Fume is not a vape. There's no vapor, and you could use it anywhere. There's no nicotine. It's not addictive. The non-toxic flavors are a guilt-free alternative. Fume doesn't use any batteries, so you'll never need to charge it. The design is super sleek. It looks awesome, and you can truly feel the weighted high-quality design. One of the things about Fume is that it's made to fidget with, and it calms anxiety with magnets, snaps, and clicks. Fume continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products. Fume is also backed by doctors in the United States. My favorite Fume flavor is crisp mint. It is honestly delicious, and I couldn't recommend this more for anyone trying to quit their bad habit. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code MIDAS, M-E-I-D-A-S, to get a free gift with your journey pack. So head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com. Tryfume.com. Use code MIDAS or scan the QR code on screen to get a free gift with your order today. So then Special Counsel Jack Smith submits his opposition to this and says, the government opposes a third extension of the defendant's expert notice. Since the court set a defense expert notice deadline of November 15th, 2023, the defense has already sought and received 2 adjournments of pretrial deadlines, one that vacated the defense expert notice deadline altogether until an undefined later date, and another that resulted in a month-long extension of the deadline from May 9th, 2024 to June 10th, 2024. Both of these were over the government's objection. This morning, on June 10th, the day the notice is due, Trump's counsel notified the government for the first time of his intention to seek another extension of the deadlines because, according to counsel, over the weekend of June 8th, 9th, Trump's expert declined to participate in the trial. So you would think that if you're a judge who's a stickler of dates and deadlines, by the way Judge Aileen Cannon is acting when actually Special Counsel Jack Smith and his team are sufficiently meeting dates and deadlines well in advance, but Judge Cannon will always say, nope, you gotta meet and confer earlier. You know, you're not giving sufficient time to Donald Trump. You would think that you would just apply that logic evenly if your job as a judge is to be like an umpire and call balls and strikes and not root for one specific team or the other. But no, Judge Cannon, immediately after Donald Trump requests the extension of the expert disclosure on the deadline, rushes, says there's good cause. What's the good cause? The good cause is that Trump's expert backed out over the weekend, the day before it's due. You should be doing this months in advance. The government disclosed its experts months ago. What are we talking about here? She goes, there's good cause, but then she says, look, moving forward, any requests for extension must be filed sufficiently in advance of the deadline at issue. Okay, well, compare this to what Judge Aileen Cannon did when Donald Trump threatened the lives of FBI agents and DOJ officials, where Trump was putting out lies after putting discovery material on the public docket that printed out the use of force protocol that exists in all search warrants executed everywhere in the United States, no matter who you are. And Trump lied and said, the DOJ and FBI tried to have me assassinated, which is false. So special counsel Jack Smith went to Donald Trump's lawyer, said, look, that type of language can get our law enforcement killed. So let's meet and confer. Let's talk about it. We need to make a filing to stop that and change his terms of conditions of release, because this is now an urgent issue. Let's meet, not the day of the deadline. Let's meet and confer and talk about this. And then we want to file a motion on this. And Trump's lawyer said, no, we're too busy. We can't do it right away. So special counsel Jack Smith then filed it. That's pretty urgent stuff, right? Trump's conduct that could hurt law enforcement and the FBI. So special counsel Jack Smith's like, look, we tried to meet and confer. We tried to go through the process before filing the motion. Trump's lawyers don't want to do that. They want all the time in the world. That's not what the local rules require. So we're filing this. Then what did Judge Cannon do? She slapped down Jack Smith's filing and said, you did not follow the rules by meeting and conferring with Trump's lawyers sufficiently in advance. You should have allowed more time for a meet and confer. Your meet and confer was perfunctory in nature. Just watch what she says here. Paperless order denying without prejudice for lack of meaningful conferral special counsel's motion to modify the conditions of release. Upon review of the motion, defendant Trump's procedural opposition and the attached email correspondence between counsel, the court finds that special counsel's pro forma conferral to be wholly lacking in substance and professional courtesy. So Judge Cannon refers to the effort by special counsel Jack Smith to meet and confer with Donald Trump's lawyer lacking in professional courtesy after Trump tries to get law enforcement killed, where special counsel Jack Smith says, let's meet and confer, but now that's pro forma and perfunctory. It should go without saying that a meaningful conferral process is not a perfunctory exercise. Sufficient time needs to be afforded to permit a reasonable evaluation of the requested relief by opposing counsel and to allow for adequate follow-up discussion as necessary about the specific and factual and legal basis underlying the motion. So I wanted to show that so you can see the comparison. So you know that my frustration with Judge Aileen Cannon is not that just, oh, she's appointed by Donald Trump and that she's a MAGA judge. No, that's not what it is. It's that a judge is supposed to be like an umpire. They're supposed to call balls and strikes. And here, what she is doing is she is saying, for Donald Trump, you could file it the day of, there's good cause. For special counsel Jack Smith, your advance notice I deem pro forma and perfunctory, and you're not showing Trump professional courtesy, despite the fact that he's lying about law enforcement, he's lying about the FBI, he's lying about the DOJ policy. You are not following the dates and deadlines. She's unevenly applying the law. And that's my issue. And I think you can see it right there with that contrast. And it's important that we call it out that specific way. Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. It is so key right now that we get out the factual information, and we take painstaking efforts here on the MeidasTouch Network to share with you the real legal understanding of what's going on here. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million, and thank you.
Enough! Send it to the big house, not the White House. Get the new exclusive tees, mugs, and stickers right now at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.